Hello, good morning, and welcome to B Stocks. My name is Maina Chege, and I thank you so much for joining us and really being there. Today is a very interesting conversation, and before I say that, I don't know why today I struggled to wake up. I don't know whether it's the weather or something of that sort. I'm not sure, but it was, I don't know. We need rain. We need rain, and maybe the prayers are going to work, the ones that just happened. But today, let's talk about an amazing topic which would really help you out: brand positioning in the market. I think probably you could be doing everything right and you're wondering why you're not still getting recognized and the likes. And today we have the doctor in the house, Baby News, and then we have Patrick Giddins in the house. He's the marketing director, 254 Brewing. Did you know that we have such a local brewing company called 254? This is going to be interesting. So tell a friend to tell a friend that we are having this conversation. Share the link out if you're watching us on YouTube, and the ones as well on Zoom. Karibuni sana. And you know, it's a sit back, learn, of course, and ask any questions that you may have. Patrick, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks so much, Maina. I didn't know your short name, MC, means Maina Chege. Yeah, how creative can that be? I mean, so just that like your name is just MC.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So make sure that your gigs.
There you go. There, definitely you go. Yes. How are you?
Very well. It's good to have you. Last time I think I saw you was on a big marketing event.
Oh yes. Where I had some few things which I didn't stay for long.
Yeah.
But I made sure like everyone is enjoying the beer.
Yes.
And out of that, good things came from that session.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, we're going to talk about you and the beer.
Okay.
But when people ask who's Patrick, what do you say?
So, I think I can be having a very long introduction, but what I can say is Patrick Idinji is a PR and a brand communication strategist. I have over 10 years of experience in the field as well.
Yeah.
I've worked in newsroom, I've worked in agency, and now working in corporate in terms of guiding the branding strategy for all this.
Okay.
One thing I can say, I'm very privileged to have worked on the biggest global brands practiced in Europe and also part of North America as well as part of my career journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow,
so that's me.
Quite extensive, quite extensive. And you know, we can't wait to hear some of the gems, at least that you learned from those other sides.
Okay.
Bring them here in the local market.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Let's talk about 254 Brewing. I must confess that I think it's after we actually met and, you know, I just saw your brands and got to know about it.
Yes.
That in my head, and probably most of the people who are watching, we really don't know much, or probably we are consuming without really knowing that actually this is, you know, our own local here. So please introduce 254 Brewing to the people, in other words.
Yes, 254 Brewing is a microbrewery, a very niche microbrewery, which makes different beers, two types of beer. That is a lager and an ale. What you find between lager is a beer of the world. What is consumed in Kenya and what Kenyans have come to know since independence or before independence, it's lager. So us, we are the force that is really introducing the ales. What is between the difference between lager and ale? Lager, the biggest is a fermentation process. The fermentation process for a lager is bottom, is the bottom yeast, The fermentation has to be bottom, whereas for the ales, it has to be on top, So you find if it's on top, then the flavors are more, That's why our beers, people will say, oh, wow, it tastes better. But then you are like, okay, what have you been drinking? Then they are like, no, I drink something else. So you find with ales, people tend to appreciate ales because of the taste, because it's mouthfeel, because of the flavor as well. Again, one of the key things in terms of, as a brewery, was to look in terms of what are Kenyans looking for? And Kenyans are looking for healthy options in terms of the beverage. Kenyans are looking for local organizations that can support them as well. And they feel they are connected to. Hence the name 254 Brewing. Because we are local, we are in Kikuyu. We have a whole local ecosystem that we are supporting within Kikuyu. And again, all our master brewers are local. you know.
Yeah.
And they're very young people who are 27 years old, 26, 28, and all that, who are bringing these amazing products.
The young taste.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking about today brand positioning, and I'm curious to know first about your brand and how, you know, you're competing against giants, guys who have been in existence before you were born.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So, how is it for you in terms of like positioning yourself? How is the reception? You know, how is the brand growing before now we get to how to get in the meat of the matter on how we can do this as well?
Interestingly, our acceptability into the market has really grown, and it has become a force to reckon with.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll give an instance where last week I was trying to check on the Google Trends between comparing craft beer revolution and gin revolution, and you can tell they are at par.
Okay.
Irrespective of how much gin brands are pouring into the market, and you look in terms of the comparison what craft beverages are doing in the market, they are spending minimal, but for the gin they're spending a lot of money to build that awareness. When you look in terms of comparison from Google Trend, you can see like it's at par. One is being driven by money, and the other one is being driven by conversation. So the craft revolution is being driven by conversation of passionate people, authentic conversation, and that's also a way of building the brand, because you want it to be on the lips of the consumer, and the consumer will be able to amplify that. So it's interesting to see how the acceptability has been. Today there is no conversation on the table without someone asking you, have you had a draft beer or a craft beer from either Bila Shaka or Bila 254, or KO, have you seen, and all that, craft ciders and all that. So the word craft is becoming synonymous in each and every conversation which is there, which is now helping us grow that awareness and make sure we are converting more people. Again, we keep on saying beer should not be boring. I've gotten to places where people will come and say, oh, I don't like beer, I'm not a beer person. But I'm like, you are used to be drinking bad beer. That's why you say that. We are selling you good beer, you know? And good beer is an healthy option, because we say our beer is natural. We are the only beverage within East and Central Africa that is offering a natural beer to the market. That someone will say, yenyewe nimekunywa kitu mzuri.
I love that. And I think this is a good journey, because now looking at it, you know, you have a sense of you're not afraid of who has been in existence and the likes, but you're hitting it on the go. So I'm very curious to know a few things here now. Number one, you are a first local manufacturer. Which is a great thing. What has been your experience having, you know, to look at these big guys who have been in existence and really driving your conversation? How is it like?
It's mastering the game. It's mastering the game. I brought into the market, I was behind the success of Tusker Cider back in 2016. I was behind the success of Captain Morgan.
So you worked with these guys. So
yes. So I can name it so many things like we've worked on. So when an opportunity came, and I was like, wow, growing a brand, a local brand, which is Mona Beer, I was like, let me jump into the bandwagon and see what to do. So that experience has really helped me to navigate the landscape and all that, and also knowing in terms of how do you maneuver, you know, how do you maneuver, what are the sweet spots of the consumers, understanding all the nuances which it takes to grow a brand. So that's where we are. I came in when 254 had 6 brands. And we had to look in terms of the healthy balance sheet of each and every brand. And we had to delist 2 brands from the market and put them as experimental beer. And then work on the 4 brands. So currently we are working on 4 brands, which I can successfully say yesterday we finalized in terms of working on our new brand positioning. So
I love this.
and it's been a culmination of a whole huge journey in terms of how do we position our brand. And this is where we went back to look in terms of what are the scientific way of building a brand. And then we went back to the branding strategy framework.
Okay.
That's where now we picked what we should be represented into the market. So
Awesome.
soon you'll be seeing a lot of from us in terms of how the brand positioning is coming out, so that then we can be able now to take the market by the storm.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, we have spoken some big terms for guys, and I like this. I like your experience, and I wanted to develop this so that people can get to know who do we have in the house and your level of experience. The fact that you could come and not look at giants as giants and decide we still have a niche.
Yes.
It's an amazing way. But let me now get back to one-on-ones, and let's talk to the person who is a producer or just business person, whatever you give in a service or even a product. What do you first of all define as brand positioning?
Okay.
So that at least they can appreciate that I actually need this before we get to know how and even when to start. Please, how do you define it?
The first thing when you look in terms of your brand positioning, it has to be driven by insight and research. Yeah. Yes, you might be feeling my name as Chege, I know, yes, Chege will take the world by the storm. And you need a lot of critics when you're coming up with a brand. And this critic will help you just get different nuances about that specific brand. That's the time you start defining your brand. Someone will come and say to you, oh, Chege is a bald person.
Yes.
Chege is a smiley person. Chege is this. You get it.
Yeah.
All that, you never take it for granted. What you do, you just put it down because it's someone who's defining the brand from the perspective on his lenses or her lenses.
Absolutely.
And that's where you start defining that position.
Absolutely.
Once you get all those nuances is when now you start creating a strategy and also understanding who is the target audience or who, is the person who said Chege is a smiley person, is he a Chege fanatic or is he Chege a hater? All those together.
Yeah.
You put them and then you work out from that point. Once you define all that, then you'll get your brand strategy. What people go wrong
So
is
research is important, that's what you're saying.
Research and insights.
Okay.
Whatever it is, you need to get that.
Okay.
I keep on telling people things are much easier than the time we started.
Yeah.
When you're starting to position the brands in 2015, let me give you a funny story. In 2013, when we were trying to position whiskey in this country, we didn't know where to start. There was no Twitter analytics, there was no Facebook analytics in this country. But in developed market like North America, Europe and all that, Facebook, Twitter, they were providing that. But in 2013, they were not providing that for Kenya. So we had a very long work to do. So we had to rely with research institutions to go and do the research. Once they do the research, they come and present to us. And then we take that as gospel to truth. Today, I don't need to go to those big research company. I can do my research on my desktop. I'll go and walk into a bar and ask people questions, and they respond to me. I'll go and ask in terms of Instagram polls, Twitter polls, Facebook top, WhatsApp polls, and people will give me feedback. And then from that point, then you're able to work on something. Now, these insights are very critical to drive your brand. And once you understand these insights, you are able now to package the brand and you go to the market. One of the biggest mistakes that people do is, I've presented you this, go work with it. That will never work. That will never work.
It will not.
The starting point of a brand is the name.
The name.
The name.
Yeah.
What do you want to call your brand? Do you want to call it Mr. Joroge Ama Jomuka General Shop? You understand?
Yes.
So will you take that brand global? We are not competing with Kenyans. We are competing global. And that's something, it pains me when I see clearing and forwarding organizations which are moving a lot of goods between cross-border goods, and they are still calling themselves wheeling agencies, Kamjesh, and all that. And I'm like, guys,
This is not global.
yeah,
Come.
you are doing cross-border business, and then you're calling yourself Come Something. I'm like, we need to get better into that. And I think it can only get better because if we start doing small educations,
Yeah.
or maybe master classes for SME, they'll know where to go to.
You're right.
So it has to start with your name. And once the name is cemented, then you're able now to put everything and to feed into it.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. So name is very important. Think global if you want to
Yes.
position yourself as well. Research and insights. Amazing. And I think that in itself now really gives sort of like a starting point on how to, really get there. By the way, I'm curious. 254 Brewing. That's a good brand because it's already, you can tell, we're
Yes.
saying Kenya.
Kenya, yeah.
An identity in itself.
Area codes, identification, associations,
Yes.
all that are very critical.
Okay.
And again, when you're doing all this, you have to remember what is the origin of the brand.
Okay.
That's very important. Every brand has to have its origin.
Yeah.
If you look in terms of the Spider-Man, we just keep saying, I want to become a Spider-Man. But did you know the story about the Spider-Man? Where did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah? You never, it's the same with Apple. Do you know the story of Apple? We only came to know about the story of Apple after Steve Jobs, died.
That's absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
but every brand has an origin story, right? And then it has a turning point and it has a transformation.
Okay.
So, as 254, what is our origin? Our origin is Kenya. Why 254? 254 is because it's a code name of Kenya.
Okay. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Kenya
Yeah.
have been having a huge gap
Yeah.
in terms of craft beers.
Yeah.
That you find it originated from Kenya, built to Kenya, in a local place within Kenya, which is called Kikuyu,
Yeah.
Derry Road, name it, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Previously, you found the brands which were built in 50s, in 60s. They started with the name Kenya ba ba ba, Kenya na na na. But now, look in terms of how people have turned the code name to become the brand name.
Okay.
Look in terms of 254 Home,
Yeah.
254 Brewing,
Okay.
254 whatever.
Yeah.
There are so many. Now now you also have to look in terms of generational shifts. The generational shift comes to this. And now this generation shift, you find even our brands that we have are named locally. We have one of the beer called Niaje. What does Niaje mean? Hello, hi, VP.
That's your brand?
Yes.
Wow.
Wemwega,
Yes.
Wasiata,
Yes.
all those, it brings you some excitement and all that.
I get you.
We have another brand called Muratatu.
Yeah.
Muratatu. People will say Murata, Muratina, Muras, na. You understand? Even if you are presenting these 254, you also need to feed into the local nuances that really builds onto that.
Yeah.
And that's how you slowly build a brand to become this iconic global brand.
You're right, because even the names that you're saying, I like how they're captivating, And you can't forget. You can't forget Niaje,
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
Jenny, yeah.
let's now jump into some of the details, because you've mentioned a few things that someone will be asking, and I think there's one. How do you even start, or where do you even start when you want to do your research? Are there certain companies that can help with this, or can someone, because some of the business persons we have are solo entrepreneurs, how can they conduct that in a nutshell? And I know this can be a whole class of research, but what can you say in a nutshell?
One thing in terms of research and insights, do you have a social media page as a business?
Yeah.
Because there are tools under social media that can help you do a research, which is very effective and which again, you don't have to pay anything. Here's a research company that really helps you in terms of do a lot of research. One Pulse is another one which can be able to give you a research within a minute or a day, which is there. They do a lot of brand related. There is Ipsos, there is, what do you call them? Nielsen and all that. There are quite a number. If you want premium research,
Yeah.
there are people who do that for you.
Yeah.
If you want a low budget research, then there is an organization to do that. But what I tell people is start by looking in terms of WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group have become very powerful community, and there is WhatsApp polls. You can create your own questionnaires and ask on that platform. Twitter polls, again, you can be able to put 2 or 3 questions and ask and all that. That will really help you in terms of understanding the insight and what you want to ask. And then you get feedback immediately and all that. One thing that we are failing in this country, especially from the entrepreneur point, and I'm looking in terms of small businesses, it's they're not putting a lot of emphasis to research. Yes.
Wow, very important. Don't just jump in, get to know what you're really doing, right?
Yeah.
I hope you're getting this. This is a very proper class, you know, for your positioning, brand. You've done your research, now let's go. So, I know it's very easy to just jump into what to do, but let me ask you, I'm sure you have interacted with so many brands in this country. Everybody has a brand they interact with, even the brand of coffee you're taking right now, whichever.
I can tell these dormants. True? Yeah.
Don't mention the should sponsor the show.
It's
Anyway.
okay.
But ideally, there are certain things that you can tell, 1 or 2 or 3, that brands do wrong, especially on startup levels. Let me start from there before we go to what you do now, do right to ensure that you're doing this. We've had the starting point, but what do you see brands doing wrong?
One, responses. We get feedback, but we don't really work on those feedback. 2, failure to accept positive criticism about your brand. If you criticize my brand, maybe there is something which is wrong and I need to know what is it all about. So Kenyans and most of us, we don't like taking criticism as a whole thing. And the other thing is what I mentioned to you about research. Brand is like a plant. It has to grow. You have to water it. And you have to water it through different platforms. Insights is critical. How much do you find people? Kitambo used to hear people saying, go to another, I've went to someone who has given me a review, you know, the haters, blah, 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 you go and delete. Nowadays, Google review gives you even a rating, and they can be able to map out someone who, they can blacklist you as Shege. If everywhere you go, you just give bad reviews, they'll blacklist you.
That's nice.
Because now they have known the kind of personality
That
you are. Yeah.
You're just a pessimist. Wherever you go, the worst things that you can talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You find a business has a Gmail account, but they don't have a Google profile account. Why? And Google is everything. Google is business. You also need to do that. And that's where the first point goes. Don't tell me my email address is, I don't know why I'm using here. It's goldband@gmail.com, but then you don't have a Google profile. You're doing injustice to your business. You need people to come, buy your product, review your product, give you feedback on that, and then you're able to see, are you moving in the right direction? Am I getting the right ratings? If you're at 4.5, you're doing well. If you're below 3 on Google rating, you're doing something terrible about your brand.
Okay. Wow. Very good insights there, and we're getting it. Now let's go to, fine, we've done your research, back to the the conversation on our brand positioning. You've done your research and you're certain this is the good name that will hit the brand and probably can shoot even global. Then what is the next thing that you need to start now doing to ensure that there's that acceptability, and let me even use the word awareness for people to now at least get to start identifying with you? Are there certain other things that you could add, 1 or 2 or 3 that you have top of mind?
Yes. Once you identify your brand and what the challenges are, you also need to look in terms of other visuals. You know, there is brand visuals. The logo, right? You need to look in terms of the business cards. You also need to look in terms of how does everything in your shop looks like. You don't come and tell me you're selling lights, and then I walk into your room and I find you know, it's just dirty. Will
Yes.
I buy that glass? I won't. So I need to start doing like, after I've worked on my logo, does it represent who I want it to be? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying the visuals need to come out correctly. So your receipting need to look in terms of the same logo and
Yeah.
all that. So everything has to be aligned. Once you finish all that, in terms of the visual brand identity, even on social media, making sure like it's more representative. Whatever you have on Instagram or you have on Facebook, they look similar in terms of the logo. You don't have one picture of a cup, the other one is a picture of a plate and
Yeah.
all that. So that consistency is very important in terms of building the brand visuals.
Okay.
After brand visuals, then you do the brand activations. Yeah. And the brand activation here is now where we are talking about how do you tell your story.
Yeah.
You need to look for a better way of telling the story.
Okay.
Do you tell your story every day? Do you tell a story about your customers and all that? So you start weaving in all there. And again, how do you represent yourself out there? Which are the forums that I want to present my brand out there? So that then it's stick into people's mind that this is brand X.
Okay.
Now, if you don't water that brand,
You're
it
in
will
for
never
a
take
joke,
off.
yeah?
You might have visual identity,
Yeah.
fine, fantastic, logo, boom, whatever, boom, business card. But have you created asset to grow this brand?
Okay. Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
This is this statement, the usual one, that your network is your net worth. And so you need to build a lot and focus a lot on ensuring that you have a proper network that at least helps you to, market your brand. But I'm also thinking in the angle of, like your products, for example.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on a network because you need to go as far as you can, So how do you balance that? And what's your view on that statement? Should some people focus more on building these particular networks? Or do you go just all out, look for budgets, hit the social media, do crazy marketing out there? Can that help with positioning? Just checking out.
It's interesting. I'll start by saying there are brands which will grow in terms of your network is your net worth based on, and you can name it.
Yeah.
If you're selling computers, people will always say, oh, Shege anauzanga computer poa enda kwake.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's an endorsement, word of mouth endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that will really work. But then when you look in terms of mature brands, people will give you word of mouth endorsement.
Yeah.
However, you also need to position your brand in a different way. Are you aspirational? If you're aspirational brand, what activities do I need to do, or what brand activations do I need to do for people to see me as an aspirational brand and for people to choose me than any other brand? You get it?
Yeah.
And if a good example, I'll look in terms of the transition from your network is your net worth to where it is a fashion industry. The fashion industry, the Chanel, the Louis Vuitton and all that, that's how they grew. They grew up from, from a tailoring kind of a business down either in Italy, Milan and all that, in New York, and then started like, oh, so-and-so is giving me the best design, I'll go. I'll go. And then they go, climb the ladder, and now today is because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
A brand will start on that trajectory journey.
Yeah.
But then we'll go back to what I asked you. What is your origin story? What is your transformational story?
So are you saying people will buy more to the identity of why you're doing what you're doing or why you're giving
Yes. Obviously. And you have to have the purpose. Why? Why am I going for that shirt and not another shirt? You have a story to that, right?
Yeah.
So, because of what you started doing, in terms of, let's say, from Chanel point of growing to where they are today, is because of what? A purpose.
You're right.
Turning point, you have to start an original story. Where is the origin, the turning point, transformation, and going? Because it's a journey.
Okay.
If I ask you today, how many 100-year-old brands do you know in Kenya?
Well, Omo. Just throw it. Doesn't, I don't know whether it has heat yet. But I think Tusker has.
True.
Yeah.
But which other? It doesn't mean it's only
I
that
know
one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Golf course in this country,
Mm-hmm.
I can mention to you, golf courses are, most of them, like,
Oh yeah, quite a number, by the way.
100 years,
We found them.
right?
And even this club.
Has
you're
their
right.
brand story? Do you know of any of their brand story? I just came to hear about Sigona, about the person who built Sigona was killed somewhere there, blah, blah, blah. He's the one who made Windsor, you know.
Oh.
But they're nowhere documented. That's why
Yeah.
we are struggling to tell these stories.
Oh no.
Yeah?
Wow.
That's why I said a brand is like a
Yeah.
plant. You have to water it every day.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't water that plant each and every day, what will you be left with? Nothing.
Wow.
Let's go back. Even I can give you an example.
Yes.
We used to hear about Jenga Karume with his
His empire.
properties,
and
blah,
all
blah,
that.
blah.
Yes.
Do you hear about them?
No?
You asked me a story when I came here. Is that place not dead? I hear bad story.
Yeah. It's like these guys die with their brands.
Also legacy, vision carrier, yeah, succession. All these things, brand has to be succeeded by someone who's very passionate. If you're not passionate about carrying the legacy of that brand,
It's gone.
you also need to be very careful because again, when transitions comes and a brand is sold, it will be swallowed.
Yeah.
Do you want to be swallowed? People, there used to be a brand called blah, blah, blah. Why are we so excited to see Kimball back into the market a few years ago? Why were we so excited when you see someone sending you a picture of that tin can for Bluebird margarine?
Yeah.
Why? Because you want to be associated with something. You want to grow with something
Okay.
and feel connected.
Okay. You're right. Wow. Connection. Very important. So, we almost come to the tail end of this conversation, but I have to ask you this. On the sideline before we started, you say time management is part of brand positioning. So I'm going to come to that, but I'm still concerned because I'm also a business person and I'm thinking I need to position my brand well. And sometimes I get worried with the fact that every single day inventions are coming up. Is it that I am getting distracted when I look at what other people are doing? Should I look at what other people are doing so that I can always reevaluate myself? Or do I just go, holding the bull by the horns and moving on without really looking back on the sides? What do you think?
Business strategies. Business strategy is one. There are two things. You have a business strategy because you have a P&L.
Yeah.
And again, you need to realize that there is a brand within that business. Do you have a brand strategy or a business strategy?
Okay.
Those are totally separate.
Separate things. Yes.
Yeah. So what most SMEs do, they create a business strategy, and they tell you, oh, this is my brand strategy. There is no differentiation.
Doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Your business strategy is your business strategy, P&L, period.
Yeah.
Then come to your brand strategy. You have to get part of money in your overall business strategy, your profit and all that, and invest in these brands. Once you invest in this brand, then you start the growth. It's not like distraction. It's because, again, you haven't mapped out what's your critical need for your brand.
Yeah.
And then you need, out of that, create a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term strategy for that. Yes.
Wow. There you have it. We ever had a session here and we're talking about how to build a business strategy. You've just opened up my mind to know that we need to have a session on how to do a brand strategy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Let's talk about the time management thing. How does it play in?
I tell people we have 8 hours in a day.
Yeah. Of what?
Of work.
Yeah.
But you also need to go beyond those 8 hours and invest a lot in terms of learning and researching. One of the key things, I has really contributed me to be where I am is a curiosity to learn.
Curiosity to
And
learn.
understanding that the world is a global village. The person who's in Europe is watching what Kenya is doing. Either wherever they are, they would like to see what are the trends happening in Kenya. That's why I love Google, because I love Google everywhere. They've equalized the playing field. Yeah. Again, when I look in terms of the time management, I also need to look in terms of how am I planning my work? What is the priority? What is the urgency?
Okay.
What is the importance and all that?
Okay.
And you're able to come and say, okay, based on the weighing scale,
Yeah.
this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
So that you can be able to complete your 8 hours. Once you're done completing your 8 hours, then you remember, at the end of the day, you need to research. You need to know what has been happening in Europe within the same category of my brands. What has been happening in North America? What has been happening in Asia within the same category of the brands? Because if you do not learn or benchmark with the global standards, then utabaki pale pale.
Okay. I like this. One more question that is top of mind as I look at what people are asking. Top of mind, and I know I'm putting you on the spot because I have to tell you, don't talk about 254. But top of mind, there are brands that you see and you like, they have done a very good job in positioning. Don't mention yourself, all right? And you're like, good work in positioning.
Bio. Bio, you know Bio?
Yeah, the yoga.
Yes.
Why?
Have you seen how they have come up very strong? With
Yeah,
very.
there's something. There's
Can I tell you something? The design, the
design.
visual, the visual identity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The visual identity connect with the origin story. If your visual identity, whatever it looks like, and then doesn't connect, your distraction. Grounded products. Have you seen Grounded? Baby, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You've seen? Anita is really pushing a lot of baby product for Grounded.
Yes.
They've come, toxic, non-toxic products, you know,
For babies.
all
yeah.
those things for babies, a gap that has been there. You look in terms of their brand, visual, and their story connects. The light green, the dark green kind of color tells you about we are non-toxic, you know, we are all these things. Perfect connection.
Wow.
Right?
So what do you do in a field where, which you have experience on, people over the years have been taking beer. You get? Before 254 came.
Yep.
And you come in and you're here saying, I got a better taste or something, you know? So what do you do to position yourself in a place where there is crazy competition? I mean, how do you position yourselves to still have a market and a niche for that?
As I said, you're
The story.
one, if you have a good story to tell, that will help you win market share. The second thing, the product that you're selling has to match the customer's expectation. You don't come and tell you, oh, this is good coffee. And when I taste the coffee, I'm like,
What is this? Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So you also have to get people who really appreciate. Right people will help your brand grow. If I look in terms of the story of 254, which started smack in the middle of COVID in 2020, right?
Yeah.
When bars were closed in this country,
Yeah.
how did they pull off from the
Okay.
ground to be where they are?
Okay.
Is because the product and the expectation really matched the expectation of the consumer.
Okay.
And the consumer could be able to create that association.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, I also look in terms of generational shifts that helps also brands. You have to be very timely in terms of looking in terms of where there are gaps. We have our cycle in terms of the transition. After every 5 years, we know a new government is coming. After every few years, you can tell there is a shift in terms of the consumer, transition in terms of the age groups and all that. Then you need to be at smack of where knowing this guy 18-year-old kabla afike 20 I need a product for him.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That atafeel and associate nayo.
Yeah.
So those, you also need to play with demographic and also psychographic of
Yeah.
the target audiences at the same time.
Very true.
So it requires a lot of work to build a brand. And what I tell people and encourage people is long are gone days where you used to think about building brand is only radio, advertising on TV, and a print newspaper.
Yeah.
Today you have a whole universe. Like us, we have a whole metaverse for 254 in terms of the things that we want to do in terms of promoting our brands.
Yeah.
Long days are gone when you used to wear a Bluebird t-shirt and you walk on the street on Saturday saying Bluebird, you know, people to see you are coolest and all that, yeah?
Yeah.
Nowadays people tell you like, those are t-shirts for sleeping, right? So is it the coolest thing ever? You understand?
No, you're
so
right.
we need to be appreciating the time that we are living in,
Yeah.
the generational shifts. What are these audiences thinking? Are they thinking ahead of us and all that to ensure that we are building on the same. I look in terms of like even the great opportunities that the counties have, and I'm like, they are yet to maximize on their branding strategy. They only say like, oh, in my county, this is my strategic year plan. But let me ask you, if I ask you, what is Nairobi County known for?
Well, that's a good one. Well, globally or locally?
Locally.
Locally. Nairobi County.
Yes.
The good or the bad things?
You see now, you are struggling. What is Murang'a County known for?
I don't know if potatoes are still the one, but I know
Murang'a, potatoes.
Some rich guys are from there.
What is Nyeri County known for?
No.
Actually, there is no single county in this country that you can say, I've mapped what should I be associated with. They have logos, they have mottos, but do people locally know? What we have is perception. You'll hear, yeah?
No, you're right. You're right.
You just, people create perceptions of these counties.
Yeah.
But the county, there is no single county that has stood and said, this is what I stand for
This
as
is
a
what I
brand
stand
for county.
You're right. Wow. Odipo, thanks for tuning in. Odipo does amazing. He has been here before. He does amazing, what do we call them, man? Look at me, look at me, look at me. These things, you know, like how you put pepper, what do you call those ingredients? There's a name.
The spices.
Spices, yeah, that's the word. That's the word I was looking for. It is amazing value-added spices, and I like the way he packs them. Very, very, I like, in fact, if you see the brand, Odipo, you need to bring some here so we can at least showcase them.
Yeah.
And then they in sachets nicely, so you don't have to be guessing. You know, the people guess him, Matosha, you know, that thing. So he has very well packaged sort of like sachets for you, so you don't make mistakes and the likes. Anyway, my final question is to put you on the spot as a business person. They are watching. What's your top of the gut advice today? I know we have spoken about brand positioning, but top of the gut that you think businesses this year need to think this way? Is there an advice you can give, one or two, whichever that you can feel? What are you seeing on the go? I mean, it's a tough season by the time.
Wow. Top of mind, what I'll say is, let's try to build the local brands to become global brands, iconic. There is a lot of shift and the focus in terms of our continent called Africa.
Yes.
And everyone is loving every brand and all that. So it's upon us to try as much as possible to position our brands globally. And I say the glocal, Think global, act local.
Wow.
That's how it should be.
Wow.
Think global, act local. Glocal.
Okay. Glocal.
Yes.
That's the new term.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
Think glocal. I like
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take our county to glocal. Miami is known as the sunsets.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the sun, you know, the sunshine, you know, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
New York is known for its vibrancy and all that.
Yeah.
Dubai is known for its as a destination. Why has Dubai become a destination, whereas Mombasa is not? And we have the same sun, humid,
You're right.
blah blah blah.
You're right.
It's because you're not positioning ourselves properly. Yeah.
Okay, let me get into the questions, all right?
Yeah.
So, what's your biggest challenge when positioning your brand? I think I'm just reading it out. So
Okay,
you
okay.
just take it in. What's your biggest challenge when positioning your brand? Because you talk a lot about social media. How do you use it? How do you use it better besides analytics? You know, and talk about platforms and influencers. I know you got the question. What's the person trying to get from you?
The best way to start positioning your brand, as I'll go from the beginning, is just getting the research and the insights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just create a questionnaire. People come to me to ask questions in terms of how do I look into questions. I'll give you for free, like as a masterclass, as a CSR. Send questionnaire, we see whether we are finding the right questions and all that. And then you need to get someone who's good in terms of content creation to post for you and to monitor for you how the traction is going. That's a starting point. Once you do that, then you're able to identify who to carry your brand. I know people keep on saying like influencers and all that. Yes, influencers are good for awareness, but I'm asking people and I'm challenging people to look beyond an influencer for brand awareness, for an influencer who's going to bring conversion rate to my brand. I'm spending money. If I'm spending 1 shilling on this influencer, I need to get 2 shillings on my product. We need to start looking at that way. Rather than I'm spending money, but I'm not getting. Let's put use of a good money, good use of our money in terms of investment on marketing and all that. Influencers are one of the platforms that we're working with. And if I look in terms of what they're asking is, are they good? Yes, you can bet. You can get someone who's very passionate, very authentic about loving your brand. Don't pick people who are being recycled all over to come and sell your brand and you expect they give you the same. It might not be that way. You also need to sit down and do a lot of digging to find the right person for your brand.
Wow, that's a powerful one. What about this part of what has been your biggest challenge when positioning your brand?
Sometimes it's people not believing in you. People not believing in you because they're used to big brands. They want to be associated with big brands.
They want to associate with
yes. They want to be associated with iPhones, not the Oppos. You know.
I like it. By the way, I must say that my phone, I don't even think people know about it much. It's not none of those big brands, but they're amazing. Once they advertise, I will mention. Okay, let's look at this. What is the advantage of 254 Brewing over the new local brands, and what makes it stand out in the market?
One, we sell fresh beer. It's unfiltered beer and it's a natural beer. That's the advantage that we have. Fresh means is most of the beers which are locally made or which are available are not fresh beer. So for us, we sell you fresh beer. Our beer has expiry. After every 3 months, you never find it in the shelf. We clear. That's the advantage of selling fresh beer. Unfiltered beer, it's it doesn't have any what do you call them? It doesn't have any preservative, addictive, and all that, or any other chemical. That's why we talk about unfiltered beer. So the way we ferment is the way we ferment is the way we package it and all that. So that's the advantage. And then it's healthy. It's not gassy. You know, gassy. It doesn't give you like a bloated stomach the way most people think about the rest of the other beers and all that. And then look at me, flat tummy, and you know, hatuna zile mnasemanga sijui nini.
One more question, Kevin Kerema, thanks for tuning in, bro. He's asking, how do I position myself? Sorry, did I lose the question? How do I position myself? How can I brand myself better as a DJ? Over to you.
What's your DJ name? You need to tell me like his DJ name.
Let's just call him DJ Kev.
DJ Kev.
Yes.
Hey, there are so many DJ Kev, So one thing is, DJ Kev, you also need to know, if you're branding yourself, you need to know exactly which are the best spots for you to play. to grow your brand. And also for a DJ, you also to be seen.
Yeah.
You need to be seen for people to do that. You need to create a lot of mixtapes that you share on YouTube, on Google, on Spotify, Castbox and all that. And then you need to let people, your friend need to start sending, and you also need to stand out. You need to be part of these DJ associations and all that, where you're always doing. So there is plenty of opportunities that you have. You need to ask for a gig at Milan, even if you want to play pro bono at Milan, K1, where it kicks. You need to be in those Akina Kettle House. You need to be such places. There be a district. If I be a district, you know, ask for gigs in such places, like you want to play pro bono just to grow your brand.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Odipo, you're very active. He was trying to answer some of your questions that Kitale tunajua it's maize, Kericho tea, Mumia sugarcane. But I don't know.
But is Kitale a county? You see?
It's Trans Nzoia.
Yes, you see.
Oh yeah, we're saying a county as
a county.
What are you known for, right?
Yeah, as a county.
Okay.
How do you position as a county?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kericho, yes, it's tea, but is it Kericho County?
No, you're right. You're right. Wow, I want to appreciate especially our Zoom participants, quite a number of them there, and the YouTubers today. So it's now the parting shot, because we have to close. What's your, let me see, do I have any other question? I'm looking at my team here and they're saying something. Let me check it out. But be preparing your parting shot as I sift through what they are saying. Let me see. Yeah, I can see one. Oh, yeah, there's a question on taxes. That we have taxes coming on, and for sure your brand is going to get SIM tax. Yeah.
There's
a SIM tax coming. I don't know whether you're about to be hit. What's your view on this tax issue, especially on promoting local brands?
I'll speak in terms of small independent breweries in this country.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenge is, let's not be bundled together with the big giants which are there. We need to like the Treasury need to get everything right, especially in terms of encouraging local breweries to thrive, small independent breweries to thrive, not to be bundled like the big ones, because it's very punitive actually to be bundled together. That's why you find like most of the organizations are complaining about these taxes, and we are highly taxed in terms of the alcohol beverage in this country. Yeah, if I look in terms of, we are like 40 times more than US, and US has almost like in one state you can find over 450 breweries in one state.
One state.
So if it's that, like you can find like almost like 10,000 or to 20,000 breweries in states. Now, Kenya, which has, we are like 8th licensed brewery, our taxes are 40 times higher than US. What does that tell you? We are discouraging entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
We are discouraging investors who want to come to this country. So they need to look in terms of, how do I bundle the big breweries?
Yeah.
They need to pay this. Smaller breweries, maybe it's gradual, and all that. If you hit certain liters, then you increase like this. That's how it should be, rather than bundling everyone together. Yeah. The wine company, this is how it should be. Not say wine, spirit, blah. You get it.
Yeah.
That's why we are encouraging illegal drinks because of the high taxation.
The illicit ones and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow. My
Yes.
bro, it's such an honor now. The parting shot. Have you prepared for something? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, straight up. What's your parting shot on this conversation?
In my parting shot, I'll say like, for your brand need to create consumer engagement.
Okay.
Always remember that.
Yeah.
You also need to have a call to action for your brand. You don't say, this is Dorman's Coffee.
Yeah.
What is the call to action to that? You also need to ensure like every day you are increasing your brand awareness and getting the right people who are going to talk about your brand. And again, you also need to make sure you are increasing your recall.
Yeah.
Your recall is like top of mind.
Yeah.
If I walk into the supermarket and I don't have something to do, can I walk to that aisle and just look in terms of 254 beers? This is where they are. Let me go to the liquor section and I look at my, because I've seen something that excites me about my brand and I want to pick that.
Yeah.
So let's try to look at that. And over and above is let's try to practice global. Yeah,
Wow, I
we
love
think
that.
global and we act local,
We act
and make
local.
sure we are taking our brands globally.
Yeah.
And let's not lose our
Yes.
identity.
Think Gloco, such a way, what a parting shot.
Yeah.
And thank you so much once again, Patrick, for really coming through. I'm hoping that the invitation to Kikuyu is coming through.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, when do you want to
So I
come?
have a question for you. I'm just looking at our most amazing participants. What can we give Odipo from 254?
Odipo, I'll give you a 6-pack. Is he in Nairobi or he's saying he's in
I know he's in
Kitale?
Nairobi.
He's in Nairobi. Tell him to come to the brewery, we'll give him a 6-pack.
A 6-pack, eh?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. Odipo, 6-pack, you got it. There you have it. Thanks for tuning in as well.
Yes.
So much appreciate so much your time, and yeah, looking forward to even tapping as much and visiting as well, Kikuyu.
Please, please do come. It's a very beautiful space there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The weather is perfect. As people are complaining about the weather in Nairobi, Kikuyu is so cool. Wangari can tell you that. It's so cool.
It's cool, eh?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. No, I appreciate so much, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's about it. It's 9 o'clock and we have to keep time. Remember we talked about time and brand positioning? Yeah. So keep working. That's Biz Talks for today.